My name is Casey, also known as the Heart of Reviews, here on all of the various channels. And today I am delighted to say that I am joined by a very, very special guest, Gary Goldstein, the multi-hyphenate, but um, dear to my heart, Hallmark screenwriter of Hitched for the Holidays, as well as Lights, Camera, Christmas, and many others, and the upcoming Friends and Family Christmas, the highly anticipated Friends and
Yes,
Family Christmas.
December 17th.
Yes. Yeah, Hallmark Snark, one of my favorite podcasts. They said it was their most highly anticipated one of the year.
I read that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So today we're going to be playing the unofficial Hallmark Christmas board game, which, for those of you who don't know, was created by me in 2020, the Dark Ages, as a way to sort of poke fun at the direction Hallmark movies were going for a while, until about that 2020 year when things started turning around. So it is not as diverse as Hallmark movies are now. It's very formulaic. But I'm hoping to start to change that as the channel starts to change, which is great. My dad once said that you could create any Hallmark movie with a roll of the die. So that is what I did. But just some background on me, I grew up watching Hallmark movies. I grew up watching them when they started Countdown to Christmas in 2009. So I've gone through all the Hallmark changes, and I'm glad to see that we're sort of going back in a direction closer to the one that we started in.
Right. Right. Well, I think you could look at all Christmas movies, really. I mean, I think they've all kind of broadened and, are doing more provocative things, more interesting things, more diverse, eclectic things, which is nice. I mean, there's just so many stories you can tell. So it's really nice to be able to open it up. I see it on all the platforms, but Hallmark has done a really great job opening things up, I think.
Definitely. Okay, so let's get started. I don't know how, do you ever write for any specific actors, or do you write based on archetypes, based on characters you have in your mind?
I usually write based on story idea.
Mhm.
What's the kind of higher concept of something? What's the arena that I think might be interesting? Often it's brainstorming with my producers and Hallmark or whoever is doing the movies. Sometimes you take a few ideas and you bring them together and they become one idea, one story. But ultimately everything comes out of character and your humor, especially in comedy, your humor comes out of character. And if you find characters with interesting flaws and an interesting way they need to go, an interesting character arc, you tend to find a lot of comedy in that. They say that comedy is you want to put people where they would least like to be, and that's where the comedy comes from. That's where the stress comes from, and that ends up being where the comedy comes from through the character's personality. So try to think of how do you put somebody in a place, especially around Christmas, that they would least like to be,
Mhm.
having to have a date for that office party that they are dreading anyway, and they have nobody to be with, and they hate Christmas and they hate having to be happy during the holidays. And where do you put that person? You put them in the most pressure cooker place of all, and that opens them up. And generally through that, it's what gets them into what I call the mess of the movie. And then they learn from that mess and generally from the person who comes into their life as a result of the step that they take. And hopefully the characters learn from each other. So, it's a combination of ideas, characters, character traits, high concepts. What's fun, what might be just fun.
Yeah. Well, that is great and far too advanced for this game. So I'm very excited to see what happens. What I would like you to do is pick a Hallmark leading actress to star in your film. It is a very small list because it was made a few years ago, and I really just went with the ones that I knew my parents would like because I thought they were the only people who would ever be playing this game. So this is
Right.
very exciting. But
Who knew? Well, I when I glanced at the list, I saw Kimberley Sustad, and since she was in my last movie, Lights, Camera, Christmas, and she was great, let's go with her.
I think that is a perfect choice. I love Kimberly Sustad. And then if you could pick what her job is going to be
Okay, let
in
me go
this
back.
movie. Each job has a different Christmas spirit
Oh,
point. number. It doesn't matter how many you get. That's one way to win, but typically
Well,
I just like to go with whatever movie sounds better.
let, let's go with let's go with writer because I'm a writer and I know Kimberly's also a writer, so that might make sense.
Yeah, that sounds perfect to me. Okay, great. Lovely. I am going to choose. I didn't think about this at all. I'm going to go with Katrina Law. She seems very similar to Kimberly Sustad in a lot of ways. Witty, bantery, smart.
Adorable.
And I'm going to go with Party Planner. Seems kind
Okay.
of silly. Okay. And now, let's see. I will get Kimberly up on the board.
See, I don't get to see how you put all these pieces on the board, so I'm
Yeah.
going to take your word for it. But I'll bet it's amazing.
And then let's see. If you would like to roll your die, we can begin the game.
Okay. I rolled a 4.
Perfect. So right now we're just sort of in the race to get to the setting. Whoever gets to setting first gets to choose first.
Okay.
So anytime that you land on one of these white tiles, and I'll let you know, it just really affects the Christmas spirit points. You don't have to use these things in your movie. It's just to get the blood flowing, some
Would it be
inspiration.
great if I actually ended up with a movie from this game?
It would. It would be great.
Next time I pitch, nobody will ever believe that I'm pitching a story based upon this game that we played.
I feel like you'd have to zhuzh it up though.
Yeah, a
Add
little bit.
some
Yeah.
less formulaic. But let's see. In this one, it is surprise. Your black best friend actually has a backstory. Congratulations.
Excellent. Good to
Yeah.
know.
Okay, and I rolled a 5. So I got dumped at the engagement palace.
Ah,
Of course.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Better luck next movie.
Thank you. Okay, your roll.
Great.
Okay, then I'm going to stop you right on settings. So if you want to take a look at the settings, we're back on that document.
Okay.
And let's see where we can put the writer Kimberley Sustad to put her in the place she least wants to be.
Yes, setting. Oh, okay. Uh, fake your finger. Uh, something. Well, let's see. Let's go with the fake European country. She's not a
Okay.
princess, but I think it's always fun to put somebody, someplace they have no idea where they are. So let's see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great to me. I'm also on setting, and I'm going to go with a party planner, and I'm going to take your method, place she least wants to be. Let's go with hometown.
Okay.
It's a classic.
Because you can't go home again.
No.
But you really can in a Hallmark movie. You really can't.
Yeah. You never. Okay, your roll.
2.
2. Um, you want the brick sweater, but a man behind you just bought it. That is a reference to this very ugly brick sweater Hallmark used for a long time that was just in the background of every film, and it was so eye-catching. Of course, I bought my father one because it's brilliant.
Was it like chimney bricks or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's
Got it.
delightful. So that's, a possible meet cute. You lose your sweater.
Buying this terrible sweater.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. I got the same thing. We both have the brick sweater. Wonderful. It's your role, the race to the Hallmark hunk.
5.
Perfect. Then there you go. So you're at the section now where you get to choose your Hallmark hunk to star in this movie and also his job. As I said, this was made in 2020 when Hallmark no longer featured any queer romances. So glad to see that we are getting back into it. And after you pick your hunk, I would like to hear about Friends and Family Christmas if you have anything to share.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think let's go with Trevor Donovan because, well, you know what? We shouldn't because he's not a Hallmark actor anymore.
Yeah, I've taken him out of my section. I forgot to take him out
No,
of
I
that
did.
one.
I did write a movie that he was in back in the day. It was one of his first movies, I liked him a lot. But let's go with Michael Rady. I like him. He's kind of he's good at playing the everyman and good at playing the kind of upper crust guy too. So
I
see
think
where
so
that
too.
takes us.
Wonderful. And what will Michael Rady's job be?
Oh, I have to go back to the
Yeah, sorry. Then you'll be done for a
faster.
long time.
That's okay. I'll be faster. It'll be faster. Okay, his job. Wait. Love interest job. Oh. Uh. Okay. Where are we? We're in a country. Okay. Let's go with chef, because if I wasn't a writer, I would want to be a chef. So let's play my fantasy out a little bit.
Ooh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So, as I said, this is going to be a classic heterosexual rom-com, but
That's
do
they're
you
allowed.
want to
That's
talk about Friends and Family Christmas, how that came
yeah.
about? This
Yeah.
is Hallmark's
Friends.
first.
Yeah, it's about two women who meet up over Christmas and in in New York City, and they for to make there's a little hitch for the holidays in it, where to make their parents happy there, because the parents kind of fix them up, and the parents actually, one of the main characters' parents actually show up in New York around Christmas time, even though their daughter has said that she doesn't want to be back at home for Christmas. She has things to do in Manhattan and Brooklyn, where they live, and she's an artist, and she has a whole she's a whole world there that she needs to spend time with. But the parents miss her, and they always spend every Christmas together, so they just show up in at her doorstep and spend the Christmas holiday with her as she's trying to sort of be with her friends and this new artist group that she's been become a part of, and work on her projects and all of this little juggling of the generations, I guess. And so what was the question beyond? Oh yeah,
Just
and then right, and so then the parents end up her parents, and then the other woman's parents, they end up kind of putting them together, hoping they'll meet, and they decide, well, we're really not ready to date. We're not right for each other. There may be somebody else I'm interested in, but we'll pretend to be dating just to make our parents happy. And of course, if you've seen any Christmas movie, you kind of know where that relationship is going to go. But it's nice
oh
because it's a little different, and it's two women, and it's a very, very diverse cast really well, really very diverse, very interesting characters, very eclectic. I'm really proud of what they've done with that. So yeah, check it out, December 17th.
yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, one thing that really struck me in the description just when it first came out was that it's their families who want them to do this.
Right, right,
And that's huge in a world where you see so much homophobia in media.
right. Well,
To
it's
see
really,
the first
yeah,
big lesbian Hallmark movie and also have very progressive family members.
yeah. Well, it's not about, we're kind of beyond, and not that we are in the real world, but it's kind of beyond her having to convince her parents that it's all okay, or her parents having to come out to her parents and all of that. It's like the parents, they know, they love her, they're happy, they just want her to be with somebody, and both, so we've kind of gone beyond all those kind of earlier tropes, which are still very valid in much of the real world. But for these movies, it's nice to feel like, we don't have to go over that territory again, that the parents are just completely supportive, and it's really, they just want, the expression love is love. They just want they just want the women to be happy,
Yeah.
and if the parents can make them happy, that's, another feather in their cap.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very.
I am going to pick my hunkin' job, which I don't know what I'm doing yet. Um, Question while I'm doing that.
Yes.
Have you ever had any pushback story wise in anything that you've pitched to Hallmark? And has that changed over the years?
No, because, well, the pushback from anybody, whether it's Hallmark or Lifetime or anybody, is really just like, we've done that already.
Mhm.
That doesn't excite us enough. We've got something like that coming up in the future. It's not as much kind of like, oh, we won't go there, because when you pitch whoever it is, whether you're pitching Hallmark, Lifetime, Netflix, whoever it is, you go in with a pitch that's tailored to the kind of material that they do. So the
Yeah.
whole idea, so really, it's really about, their audience, and the kind of mandates that they have for their material. and what works seems to work for them. So you go in with that and you try to kind of, it's a bit of a, guessing game, but you try to figure out what they'll like within that. And of course, everything you pitch, I always feel like if somebody likes an idea enough, we'll find a way to make it work.
Mhm.
It's like, oh yeah, I love that arena. I love the idea of A and B and C happening. We don't like that and that, but we can make it work. So many ideas, like on Lights Camera Christmas, they love the idea and the environment and all that. And one of the things they said was, we really like this and we want to do it, but can we think of a way to tell the story a little differently this time? And I came up with a bunch of different ways to do it. And, to tell this story cinematically, narratively, just something a little bit different. And we zeroed in on this, what turned out to be this Q&A, flashbacks from the Q&A at the premiere of the film,
Mhm.
the movie that was within the movie that was shot, throughout Lights, Camera, Christmas. And it turned out to be really, people loved that. And it really turned out to be very different and unique. And it was a really, really fun way of telling that story. Even if it was told in flashback chronologically, it didn't feel like, it was just so pro forma, and that was great. And I loved having the freedom to do that and to come up with these ideas, so that was really, I think it really helped make it such a successful movie.
Yeah, definitely. We love things that break the mold.
Yes.
Um, I have picked Luke Macfarlane,
Ah,
and he's an inn owner. And we'll see what happens with that. Okay,
I'm figuring it out already. I know exactly where it's going to go. Okay.
great. It is your role.
Okay. Two.
Two. Okay. Um, no content yet. You struggle to carry empty cups. -5 Christmas spirit.
Oh no.
Let's see. Five. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. I have gotten a romantic moment. Romantic moment is something that I have to use in my movie. Spoiler alert, lots of them are interrupted kisses. Majority of them are interrupted kisses. Oh, I kiss before the end of the movie.
Oh wow. It's a big deal.
It is, it's huge. Okay, it is your role.
Yeah.
Four. Okay, one, two, three, four. You're not lucky on the content yet. Red and green suits you, and you get one of these little Crown Media sort of bonus point life tile things. So we'll see how that comes into play. But we already know that red and green suits
When I
Kimberly.
realized this, I could have worn a green shirt. You got more or less red on. We could have been Christmassy. I wasn't thinking about that.
Exactly.
I'm still on Hanukkah. So okay.
Exactly. Okay. I also, red and green suits me too. Great. Love it. Okay, your role. Yeah, I do love it in the Hallmark movies where they're just like, let's put every single person in blue for this Hanukkah film.
Right, why not? Three.
Three. One, two, three. You realize this is one big Walmart commercial, -5 Christmas spirit. I really want to get you some content here.
All right.
But I'm not getting it either. Your co-star is hot, literally. It's July. Great.
Ah.
Okay. Your role.
Five.
Ooh, okay, here we go. For five, you've gotten a romantic moment.
All right.
And this romantic moment is a good one. You slip on the ice directly into the arms of your lover. +10
Okay.
Christmas spirit. So
That
that is
means that
something.
that means that my fake country has to have snow. It can't. My
Yes.
fake country can't be in, South America or something. We're up in Europe.
Yes. Or some sort of ice
Yeah.
skating, fake
Yeah.
ice.
Fake country, fake ice.
Exactly. Three for me. I get another romantic moment. Lots of romantic moments. You look up and you see holly, not mistletoe above you. Puts a damper on things.
Yes, that's kind of a fake out.
Mm-hmm. I think I
All
can
right.
use that. Okay, your roll.
Six.
Six. Okay.
Yeah.
One, two, three,
Plugging
four,
along.
five. Um, 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 um. The shaving cream snow sticks all over your heels.
Ah,
Still no content. I really want you to get to a Christmas activity, but we'll see. One, two, three, four, five.
There must
Oh,
be a football fight on this board.
yes. Okay, your roll. I'm wishing you luck.
Thank you. Two.
Perfect. We have a Christmas activity. Um, Let us see what it is. Your gingerbread house crumbles and falls to the ground.
Oh no.
So now you have some gingerbread houses you have to put in your movie. And question, because as we've just discussed, you're in Hanukkah mode. These are Christmas activities. What's it like being Jewish and writing Christmas movies?
Oh well, it's just, I love it. It's just great. I think so many people who are, who don't celebrate Christmas religiously, I think they'll say when they were children, they really felt like they missed out and not really understanding the basics of it. Just, like everybody's having fun and Christmas looks like so much fun and Hanukkah can be fun, but it's not quite as festive. And in fact, I just finished reading this very good book called The Matzah Ball. Have
Yeah,
you heard about it?
I've
Yeah,
read
and
it.
it's
It's great.
but yeah, very entertaining. And it really says a lot about Hanukkah and,
Mhm.
versus Christmas and why, and is Hanukkah fun enough, so
Yeah.
that's always part of the challenge. But yeah, I mean, as a kid, I always wanted to celebrate Christmas. And I definitely remember having, a stocking that we put on the fireplace and we didn't have a tree or anything, but my parents sort of let me have fun with it
Mhm.
and all of that. So, to me, look, anything you write about, it's like you're trying to find a fun story and fun characters. And if you put them in a Christmas environment, it's very rich, it's a very rich background. So I love writing them and, religion, not religion, it's kind of irrelevant to me. It's just they're just really really fun to write and I've written a lot of them so at this point so I've written maybe six or seven so it's a fun subgenre for sure and what's great, they make the movies,
Yeah.
when people say to me, I don't know what to write, I need to write something on spec, what can sell, I say write a Christmas movie or a Hanukkah movie or just something because they'll be made, they make 140 movies a year all told, all the networks, all the indie
Mhm.
films, all the streamers, somebody's going to buy that script if it's good. So yeah, I'm all for it. Go Christmas.
Nice. Do you have any Hanukkah thoughts in the pipeline? Another Hitched for the
I've actually
holidays?
been trying to think about a Hanukkah movie because they have done a handful of them and
Yeah.
I think the recent ones have been successful and it's really trying to find something thematic so that it just doesn't feel like a Christmas movie, but you substituted Hanukkah for Christmas. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. I mean, when I wrote Hitched for the Holidays, which was it was on 11 years ago. It was Christmas of 2012 that was on. And I wrote that script a few years before that as a theatrical screenplay,
Mhm.
and it didn't sell as a theatrical script, but it did sell as a Hallmark script. And we didn't really change all that much. We just sort of tightened it a bit, just for length. Um, uh, but to me, that was I think it was a good use of Hanukkah because we
Mhm.
were we were kind of comparing what people know, what people who celebrate Hanukkah know about Christmas, and what people who celebrate Christmas know or don't know about Hanukkah. And I think it's really interesting. I think like anything, if it's not part of your world, you're aware of it, but you haven't really paid attention that much.
Yeah.
And I think that movie really had fun with both of the holidays and melding the religions and the rituals and all of that. So I think it had a purpose. So I think hopefully a Hanukkah and like a Christmas movie, there should be a reason it's at Christmas time, not just a movie that's a fun idea. Oh, let's plunk it down at Christmas time. Christmas time. I think that's a part of it, finding something thematic. And for Hanukkah, whether it's a play on the number eight or something about lights and candles or that that kind of thing. I'm sure there are plenty of good Hanukkah stories still to be told. Although I have to say, the matzo ball was a very clever. It was about it. The matzo ball is the ball meaning a party, and it's a Hanukkah party, a big, big, big fancy Hanukkah party that happens in Manhattan, and these two future lovers get together, because of this big event. And I think that was a great way of incorporating the holiday in, and telling a story that was very, very truthful to
Mhm.
about Hanukkah, and also the idea that Jewish people also often on Christmas Eve feel a little left out which is why the one of the two main characters in the matzo ball ends up throwing this big bash on Christmas Eve to celebrate Hanukkah, which and happens to be coincide with the eighth night of Hanukkah. So that's a good story, I think. I
Yeah,
think the movie,
I found it very
I think the
moving
movie,
when I read it.
yeah, I think the movie has been I think the book has been optioned for some kind of movie. I don't know where, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like it's gotta be. It'd
yeah,
be wonderful.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I speaking of the Hitch for the Holidays, how it teaches sort of about both holidays. I, as a young person, grew up in rural South Carolina. So like we didn't have any connection to Judaism.
Yeah.
And Hitch for the Holidays is pretty much the first way that I learned Hanukkah traditions.
Really
So
interesting.
don't blow out the candles. Don't put dreidels on the Christmas tree.
I think it holds up. I actually watched, I found it on Pluto TV the other night, and it just happened to be on. I watched the first 20 minutes of it for the first commercial, and I thought it was really fun, I have to say. I thought it
Yeah.
held up really well. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the act, Joey Lawrence was great. And then Emily Hampshire, who
So
went on,
good.
she had a good career back then, but she ended up being on
Mhm.
Schitt's Creek, and that, completely, changed everything. And so you watch her in that, and she's so good in Hitch for the Holidays, and
Yeah.
very different than she was in Schitt's Creek. But it's really fun seeing her, when she was, I think.
That's one of the reasons why I watched Schitt's Creek. I was like, oh, it's the girl from Hitch for the Holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my friend Izzy would be very upset if I didn't mention her last name is Marino. She's
Uh,
Catholic and Jewish, and Hitch for
so,
the Holidays is like the movie that brings her whole family together because
so
they
great.
understand both sides.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's so nice.
Have to mention.
You you know,
Um,
you never know how these movies affect people, and it's always so incredibly gratifying to talk to people I don't even know, and they say, "Oh God, this movie means so much to me," or we watch it every Christmas, or whatever. My very first writing job was an episode of the old TV show Saved by the Bell,
mhm,
and I could have written any Academy Award winning movie, whatever. That's the one that is the credit that people are like, oh my God, yeah, I love Saved by the Bell. I remember that episode. It's just so funny the things that people react to, and things that are important to people. So it's always fun to have some part, to be some part of somebody's kind of growing up, or introduction to television or whatever.
yeah. I never rolled. I am now on a Santa bonus. Santa bonuses are kind of a weird one. You can pick a Christmas activity, a romantic moment, or a Santa bonus. Santa bonuses are tropes and characters, so they can sort of mess up your movie if you have one planned, but I have nothing planned, so I'm just gonna go for it.
Okay.
And let's see. Okay. Trope, old flame. That's a pretty standard one.
That's what I was gonna pick. Okay,
Yeah, okay, great.
good.
It is your roll.
Okay. Four.
Four. One, two, three, four. Ooh. Christmas activity. Let's see. Oh, well, okay. So you just had your gingerbread house crumbles and falls to the ground, and now you build a gingerbread mansion. So I guess you get both.
Yeah. Okay. I go from house to mansion.
Exactly. A crumbling house to a mansion. In a fake European country. So I feel like that works.
It should be a castle, not a mansion in a fake European
Yes.
country. Yeah.
I think we can make that change. I think that's
Okay.
perfectly
Can we
valid.
make that happen?
Yeah. I eat a delicious pastry from the local cafe. Lucky me.
Not made of gingerbread.
Not made of gingerbread. Maybe.
Maybe,
Maybe I'm eating your castle.
we can do anything we want here.
Okay, it's your roll.
Three.
Three. Um, your Christmas themed name is beautiful. Of course. Not one you have to use. She can have a normal name if you want.
Her Christmas theme name is her name is beautiful.
No, just like she has a beautiful Christmas
Oh,
themed
oh,
name.
okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One person used that and he named her Aretha because
Uh-huh.
wreath. And I was like, oh, that's
Oh,
inventive. I
that's
haven't heard that
clever.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got another Santa bonus. That is very scary, but we'll go for it. Last minute party planning. I'm a party planner. That's easy.
So, and of course, you do everything at the last minute, so we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, your roll.
1.
1. Another Christmas activity. You are racking them up now. Um, some kid sneezed in your hot chocolate.
Oh no. Well,
Now
I'm
you
not
have to
drinking
have a
that.
child and hot chocolate. That's actually taken from the movie Picture a Perfect Christmas, which I don't actually remember this film at all, but there's this one scene where the main kid is drinking a hot chocolate and he just sneezes in his hot chocolate and it blows up over his face and everybody starts laughing, and I do not think that it was scripted, and it's great.
Maybe not. Maybe
Yeah,
not. Got
it's
the
my
kid out
favorite
of
part of
that.
the film. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got another Santa bonus, which is truly, I don't know how that's happening. I'm afraid. Trope. He's a secret whittler.
Is that a trope?
It used to be. I don't know that
Oh,
they haven't done it in a while, but like Matchmaker
I've never
Santa.
written. Yeah, I haven't written a whittler. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Your role.
Great.
Another Christmas activity. The board is starting to like you. Um, the gift you found is terrible, and you know it.
The gift I found. Where did I
It could
find
be
it?
bought, could be
Uh-huh.
found.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
bought a bad gift or something. Yeah.
Yes. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can't reach that far. Okay, Christmas activity. I sing a made up song and it is absolutely terrible. Great. Okay, your roll.
1.
1. Santa bonus. So you can do romantic moment, Christmas activity, or a Santa bonus trope or character.
Let's do the trope or characters. I'm liking those.
Okay. Oh, trope. There was only one bed.
Ah, okay. That's that's a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But at least
Uh,
there's a bed, you know.
at least there's a bed. Exactly. They're not on the ground, not in a manger. You can work with that. Oh, also, let's see. Oh my gosh. They look too similar on the board. My legs are not that long. I got a romantic moment. Interrupted kiss, the power goes out. Interesting. Okay. Your roll.
Uh, 1 again.
1 again.
I'm behind you.
Okay. They mangle your face in Photoshop to make a family portrait.
But
They do
everybody
that.
else looks good, right?
Yeah, of course.
Just me. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
just
Have to take the
Kimberly.
picture again.
Um, and as you're sort of percolating Kimberley Sustad being a writer, I have a question for you since you write so many different things. What is your favorite thing to write? So you're a novelist, you're a reviewer, you write screenplays, you write plays.
Right, right. I've written in a lot of different disciplines over my career, and it's like it's so like, who's your favorite child? I mean, it's sort of like that kind of question. It's usually whatever I'm working on at that time is my
Yeah.
favorite thing. The disciplines are very different. I mean, I love the screenplay form. It's very compact. It's especially when a movie you're writing something that's going to get made.
Mm-hmm.
There's a seeing it come to life is such a great experience. So there's that. Writing stage plays. I've written a lot of stage plays, had a lot of them produced, and sitting with a live audience, experiencing it is really wonderful. It's very unique. It's kind of like being in a studio audience for a TV taping. If it's a comedy, less of that is done now. But yes, I love, and also in writing plays as the playwright, you're very very involved every step of the way, and you spend a lot of time with the actors and the director, and it's a very different kind of thing. So it's a great learning experience, when you're doing plays. Um, So I love those. Novels. I came to novel writing later in my career. I've written two novels and now a third that I'm have out to agents and publishers, and that's a form that really appealed to me as well. And I think all what I've learned is that all the different disciplines feed each other. So as the journalism part of my career was very helpful for writing the prose of a novel.
Mhm.
Writing stage plays and screenplays feed off of each other in many ways. I've written a lot of, in addition to TV movies, I've written a lot of theatrical movies and TV pilots and things and TV episodes. And they've all really, I've just learned from all of it. And in the end, it's just about becoming a better writer all the time. You can
Mhm.
write a million things and there's always something to learn because every story is different, and every experience is different. The people you work with on the other side are different all the time, and you just learn from everybody. And especially if you have great directors that you work with, or I've had some really wonderful producers that I've worked with that I've learned so much from. And certainly the actors, what they can often bring to a script is gold. It's something that I as a writer we don't think about doing, but they just happen upon something, and it's so exciting to see them kind of. I call it like putting their hand in the glove of your words,
Mhm.
and they just really make it work. So it's exciting. I mean, the disciplines are all very different, and I
Yeah.
enjoy all of them when I'm doing them, as I'm doing them. The ones that you just want them to see the light of day and be out there for an audience or readers or whatever, and you want to share, just be able to share your work with them. So
Yeah. Have you ever started an idea and thought it would be, a play and then it ended up being a movie or vice
yeah.
versa?
Yeah. Yeah, well, in writing the novels I have,
Hmm.
there are things that could have been screenplays, they could have been TV movies, feature films, that kind of thing. But I think you realize pretty quickly what discipline serves the story the best. I think that nowadays, these kind of with all the limited series and miniseries and all of that, things morph and they take on a different, like for example, I've been watching Lessons in Chemistry,
Hmm.
and that show is from a book, and it was
Yep.
a very successful book. I really enjoyed the book, and X number of years ago, they would have made a movie a
Hmm.
2 hour movie, and it would have been in theaters, and that was it. But now they've turned it into this 8 episode series. And when you do that, you have to expand what's there. You have to pull the taffy, and you have to kind of make more of really, really get into more themes
Hmm.
and things that may not have been in the book. And that's always very interesting to watch to see how you can expand a story and all of that. So storytelling has changed, a bit too with what's out there and the way things are made. And then what becomes successful? Something becomes successful, people generally want more of the same thing for a while anyway, until that, people get tired of it. So there's always something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've definitely started things thinking it might be one thing and realizing, this would be better, like as a play, also stage plays, if it's something that can take place in a relatively short amount of time, in basically one or two locations, that kind of can dictate. And I've actually adapted most of my stage plays into screenplays and
Hmm.
really opened them up, as movies. And it's interesting to see how you do that. I mean, it's just a process,
Yeah.
and you realize that the story could have been written for either format, but it just depends on what order you do it in. It's a hard playwriting is I don't necessarily think the process of it is any more difficult, but than other disciplines, but in terms of what you do with them, it's harder. I've been just very lucky along the way to have had plays picked up by theaters and had producers come along to produce these shows, but it's tough, especially nowadays where everything's very expensive and the theater audience is very fractured and all of
Hmm.
that. So yeah,
You're working on a novel. You just finished a novel. You're doing another
just
one.
finished a new novel called Please Come to Boston. It's coming of age romance. It's a love triangle among two men and a woman in Boston at Boston University back in the day, long time ago. And then it flashes forward many, many years when the characters come back together. So most of it takes place in the past, but as this coming of age story. But chunks of it move forward. And the whole point of the book is, will these characters get back together again
Mhm.
so many years later after they've been through all of these things in their lives? And it's kind of how, our youth prepares us for the rest of our life. And it's I'm very proud of it. It's a really I think it's a really good story, really fun, and some good characters, and brought me back to my college days.
Nice.
Yeah, which was very fun. And yeah, so I'm just trying right now. I'm trying to find an agent and a publisher for it. It's out there in the world, so I'm waiting
Mhm.
to see what happens. So,
Nice.
I
Well,
will.
I
We
wish you
can.
luck with that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. It's really fun. Thank you.
Nice. I rolled a while ago and then I never moved. So I'm going to exit the table to do that. One, two, three. Oh, okay. I've made it all the way to the conflict, which is I again don't know what my movie's going to be, so we'll see. As I'm looking through these conflicts, another question, what got you so interested in romantic comedies? Where did that love come from?
It's funny, I really like comedy. Well, first, I've always liked romantic comedies, but I think, when I was writing screenplays back in the day, when I was writing a lot of screenplays on spec, when during the time when you could actually sell a spec screenplay for a
Mhm,
theatrical film, and it would go into development and you'd rewrite it, and maybe it would get made, maybe it wouldn't, but there's a market for that. So I wrote a lot of these kind of high concept comedies, and often high concept romantic comedies, the things that would be for Sandra Bullock or
mhm,
Julia Roberts, or those kinds of things. Or not that they were waiting for my scripts, but just, like that in mind. Or the kind of broader comedies, the Jim Carrey kind of comedies, the big high concept liar liar kind of things,
mhm.
um, which just seemed like something I gravitated toward. I mean, I've written mysteries and thrillers and dramas and things too, but by and large, I think the comedy and the romantic comedy, my voice, I think, comes out the best in those. And I think it's something that I have a kind of more of a natural feel for. So I just started writing them, and then what happened was I had written a romantic comedy called The Wish List that I
Mhm,
wrote as a theatrical feature, and it didn't sell. And a couple of years later, my agent sent it to Hallmark, or to a production company that was working with Hallmark. And they thought, and Hallmark was just starting to really double down on the romantic comedy world. And it was a high concept romantic comedy. And it was made. It was called The Wish List with Jennifer Esposito. And that was a really fun story. And we Hallmarkized it, made it into,
mhm.
took it from a PG-13 to a PG, I guess, and really had fun with it, and it was successful. So it kind of got me into that world of writing those romantic comedies. And if you do something that works, it's about kind of often repeating what works and doing it better the next time, or finding new ways into it. But I like it. I like, but my second novel, The Mother I Never Had, was a very serious family drama. Not a laugh in it as far as I was concerned, even though many people said, it was really kind of funny in the dark moments, and I didn't get that, but okay. So I think a lot of times it depends on what story you want to tell. Not every story. Some stories just automatically lend themselves to comedy. And I think when you can have relationships and romance and missed opportunities and miscommunications and all that, I think they're just fun. I mean, the tropes that we talk about all the time, they're really just what happens in real life. I mean, any real relationship, especially romantic relationship, is just filled with all of that stuff. The discomforts, the missed beats, the fears, the insecurities, the passion. I mean, it's just, there's such a combination of things, and it's so ripe for character. And we can learn so much about people based upon how they approach romance and relationships, and more so generally than how they would approach robbing a bank or something, as people. So yeah, so I don't know, it's just something that I've gravitated toward, and I like doing.
Yeah. One thing that I loved about Hitch for the Holidays is that it's not, I mean, it's funny, but there's also so much of that seriousness. We have
Yeah,
his mother's mental health, and we have, brief alcoholism questions in
right.
there.
Right, right. It had dark. I mean, it's a comedy, but it definitely did have more authentic moments to it, I think. And it, like I said, it was written as a theatrical feature, so it was written as a big movie with a lot of dimension. And fortunately, I was able to keep a lot of that dimension. Most of it actually. And most of the changes we made to it were really just in terms of tightening it for because there's a limited the script was longer, let's say, than what the
Mhm.
length of the ultimate movie would be, so we had to find ways of compressing things and putting two scenes into one, that sort of thing. But the bulk of it, the emotion, the darker moments, the things that where your characters really have some that kind of dimension to it and that kind of backstory. And I want to understand in any movie, why is a character the way they are? Don't just tell me I hate Chris. This character hates Christmas. Well, why do they hate Christmas? And is it a real enough reason for them to hate Christmas or love Christmas or fear this or whatever? You want there to be an authentic reason behind it, I think. So that movie really gave me the opportunity. It was a while ago. The mandates may have been a little bit different. I don't know, but I think that movie is something that we're seeing. These Christmas movies are kind of going back
Yeah.
toward. Some of the the fun and the liveliness and the romance and the tropes, but also some meat on them, some depth to
Mhm.
them. It's important.
Yeah, that's what I've been so excited to see this year and last year
Yeah,
too. Yeah, it's also just that Hallmark sort of, I feel like, came into play at a time when rom-coms, theatrical rom-coms, stopped existing.
exactly. That's honestly how I was able to ended up selling the wish list. And I sold three or four romantic comedies, spec romantic comedies that I wrote as features that didn't sell or almost sold to Hallmark back in the day. It was Hitched for the Holidays
Mhm.
and The Wish List, and then another movie called This Magic Moment. Did you ever see this Magic Moment? I'm looking at the poster right now. It's actually it came out, I think, in 2014, I want to say, and
Mhm.
it was I think it shows up on Hallmark drama now, or Hallmark movies and mysteries,
Mhm.
but it's one of my favorite things that I've written. It's about we rejiggered the original script we changed the ages a bit, but it's about it's a little has a little bit of Lights Camera Christmas to it. It's about a young man who lives in this town, and this movie company comes in to shoot the movie, and he ends up in this kind of another pretend relationship with the lead actress, who in my original script was a bit older than him, and now they're kind of about the same age. But it's a lot about the town and the people in the town and his family, and there's a lot of backstory to him too, and
Yeah.
he's got a friend in town. I love the movie. They did a wonderful job on it. So if you ever can see
Yeah, I'll have
that,
to find that.
yeah, it's I'm sure it's available. Yeah, everything now is available on Hallmark Now or on all these other platforms and things like that. So yeah, it's one I'm very proud of. But yeah, and those were written when romantic comedies were selling for stars. They were star-driven properties. And they didn't all sell, but that's when Hallmark, I think, really kind of picked up the mantle, started to pick up the mantle. Maybe saw that there was going to be kind of a hole in the entertainment universe, and it worked out for all of us, and it certainly worked out for them. So that was a win-win.
Yeah. Well, I have picked Last Minute Travel as my conflict.
Okay,
Um, and it is your role.
okay. I want to know, how long did it take you to create this game?
An embarrassingly short amount of time. Like I couldn't make it when my parents were still awake. So I made it between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. I would be on Zoom with my friend Katie, who lives in LA. So she would be staying up only until 3, and we'd be watching One Tree Hill or Hallmark movies. As I was just like typing up cards, cutting up cards, and I made it in a span of like 5 days.
Wow, because it's
Yeah.
really a pretty detailed, deep game. I mean, I think it's
Thank you.
kind of amazing. And can be updated as needed, for
Yes.
the as the years go on. I rolled a 4.
Perfect. Oh, another Christmas activity.
All right.
Okay. Oh, that I don't know if you planned on ice skating, but you landed triple
Always,
axel.
always plan on ice skating. Gotta have ice skating in these movies. It's just That's just what it is.
Yep. Very excited to see Kimberley Sustad do a lot of intense
Yeah,
figure skating.
I hope she knows how to do it.
I it's just a perfunctory role at this point, but I've made it to the end credits, so I can start percolating. I have no idea what this movie is going to be. But it is your role to hopefully get some more plot in there before we get to the conflict.
Three.
Three, it's another Christmas activity. I can see that from here. Oh, oh my goodness. Um, okay. So this one requires a bit of explanation in that whenever there is a man who's not the main love interest, he's always so smackable, to quote my mother. And if my
Mhm.
mom watches the movie and says, I would like to smack that man, you know that you've done a great job.
Right.
So this card is a man you wish to smack arrives in town unexpectedly. So it can
It's
be
probably an old love interest, I would
could
say.
be an old love interest. One time someone did a character's father. You know,
Uh-huh.
take
We
it
don't
any
want to
way
smack.
you will. Okay, you get another. You can keep rolling until we're at the end here.
Two.
Two. Okay. Oh, you call a beautiful sweater ugly, which is really just rude.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
like this sweater beautiful, nobody believes you. So
No, it's true. Okay, roll one more time. I think we'll get to the conflict.
okay, four.
Yep, we are at the conflict. So if you go back to that other document, everything is on the table except for last minute travel because I've stolen it.
Okay, so conflict, license conflict. You're, I would say you you hid your identity.
Okay,
Let's go with
classic. Okay. So we are at the end of this part now. So now we have to think about what these movies are.
that.
So I will go back through and tell you the things that you need to include in your film, and you can include them in any order, way, shape that you would like. So you have Kimberley Sustad as your main star. She is a writer. You also have Michael Rady, the chef, to live out your little fantasy, which is wonderful. They are in a fake European country. And the various middle bits, as I like to call them, have to happen in your movie. A man you wish to smack arrives in town unexpectedly. You land a triple axle. Trope, there was only one bed. The gift you buy is terrible and you know it. Some kid sneezes in your hot chocolate. You build both a gingerbread castle and your gingerbread house crumbles and falls to the ground. And you slip on the ice directly into the arms of your lover. And your conflict will be that you hid your identity. So I'm gonna give you a minute to think, unless you are prepared, but I am not prepared. So I'm gonna take a minute for myself to think.
I'm percolating these ideas.
Okay.
Okay, I think I have my beginning.
Okay.
Kimberly Sustad is a food writer, and she's writing an article where for very successful magazines they have a big budget and they can send her from New York to Europe, where there's this chef who he's the main chef for this prince who lives in this castle in this unnamed fake European country. We'll call it Christmasburg or something. Um, and but he's very shy, the chef, and he's very private, and he's never done any interviews. So if Kimberly's character can get him to talk and get him to give an interview, it'll really look great for her, and her job may be a little bit on the might be a little on the line at this magazine, which isn't doing that great, even though they've got the budget to send her across the pond. As magazines go, they're just not doing as well anymore, but they need something big. So they need to find that, get that, nab that interview with the ungettable person. And so she tries to set up an interview with him, with the chef, in the normal way, but he says no. So she kind of has to pretend that she's somebody else to get into his good graces. And what she does is she pretends to be a new uh, food supplier for the
Cool.
castle. And I would say the person we would like to smack is the prince.
Okay.
We'll give it to him because he's just kind of obnoxious and spoiled, and he's young. He's like 16, he's not like 30s, 40s. He's just a kid. And just very spoiled, and he likes certain things. And the chef isn't really allowed to cook the things that show him off to the best because this kid still likes junky food. So ultimately, Kimberly's character has to find a way uh, to pretend to be this other person, somebody who was hired to work at the castle or hired to supply the food. And she starts, and he's not interested. What happened to the old supplier? I like the old supplier. Little do we know that Kimberly's character paid off the old supplier so she could move in, something they wouldn't do because it doesn't make her a very nice person. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do. And they end up in this in this town, in this small snowy town right before Christmas, where the chef is making the big Christmas dinner. And ultimately she wears him down, and he doesn't know that she's recording all of their meetings together and all of the things that he just thinks she's supplying food and bringing things over and being a conduit, when in fact she's really recording everything for this article. But she knows that she's going to have to tell him the truth early on, but as these things go, it gets out of hand, and it becomes too late, and she's in too deep, and she can't do it. So, uh, and all the things, as they kind of come together and sort of start to like each other, and she breaks down his walls, and he kind of gets her to be a little bit more of who she needs to be. Um, they end up doing all these events together, including he bakes a gingerbread castle, and somehow, and he's every year he's baked them, but because he's so interested in her now, he's not paying full attention, and the way he cooks it, the whole thing crumbles. But she loves it anyway, and it's so good. And he doesn't always have to be so perfect, and everything doesn't have to be perfect in the way that she's not always perfect. Um, and they go ice skating, and she falls right into his arms, and they almost kiss, but something stops them because it's only the middle of the movie. But ultimately, when things are going well, he gets wind that she's not who she thinks she is, and she also has more pressure from on her side from her bosses at the magazine to dig deeper and get more. And the more information she tries to get about this very private but very well known chef, the more he realizes something is up, until he does a little investigating himself and realizes exactly who she is. And of course, they split apart, and because he says, "I can't believe you lied to me." Well, it's the only way. Look how much you opened up. It's the only way I could get you to really talk. And look how well we've gotten along. And he goes, "Oh, you only like me because I was an article for you. I was somebody to write about. You don't really care about me. Nobody ever cares about me for me. It's all because of who I am or my cooking ability or that kind of thing." And they split apart, of course, right before Christmas, when all these festivities are happening in this picture perfect town in Europe. And the whole point is how she gets back to, she decides to go back to New York before Christmas. And as she's leaving, going to get on the plane, she realizes, no, I can't do this. I have an idea. I've got to make this right. And of course, he misses her too, but he can't let on. And ultimately, at the end of the movie, it's about how she works her way back into his good graces, and fesses up to everything that she did, but really does care about him and isn't going to write the article because he doesn't want it. And she's going to do something else, and maybe she'll even leave writing and become a chef with him. Maybe she'll be his sous chef, and or something, or a co-chef. um, and everybody lives happily ever after. And we will call it, what will we call it? We'll call it Chef's Kiss for Christmas. How about that?
Love it.
All right,
I
that's
would watch
good.
that movie right now.
I'm gonna go write it right now. Let's make something happen here.
That's great. Um, Mine is I don't know how you came that just all poured out so brilliantly. Okay, I'm just
Can
gonna
I
say the
help you?
first words.
Can
Mhm.
I help you? Can I pitch along
Sure,
with you? All right, go ahead.
please. That would be
You
great.
start. I'll jump in.
Okay. So we have Katrina Law, and she is a party planner, and she has been living in Chicago But it hasn't been going very well. She's really burnt out. She doesn't like the city, but she doesn't want to admit it to herself because she hated her hometown and she couldn't wait to get out of her hometown, of course. But this is going to be a bit of a sad one. Her father has just passed away, and her mom is going through a rough time. Her mental health is struggling, and she has to sell the house because it's too big and they can't afford it. And they're in like a full renovation to get it ready to sell. So Katrina Law comes home for the holidays to help her mom get the house ready, but they have a bunch of stuff in her bedroom, so she can't stay there. So she has to go trudge over to the local inn owned by Luke Macfarlane, a single father, and get their last room. And she is just hating it. She hates that she has to take time out of her schedule and leave Chicago. She hates that she has to be in her hometown. She's upset that her father has passed. But his daughter is very adorable and young and persistent and keeps telling her to come to all the Christmas events at the inn and to help out the town and do all the tree lighting things. And this is where it gets a little hinky.
Fuzzy.
Let's see. Um, we see her helping out her mother. Um, and she begrudgingly, although the kid's kind of cute, so she's kind of okay with it, goes down to the kitchen with the daughter of the inn to eat their own inn pastry. That's a big draw, a big tourism draw in this small town. It's Luke Macfarlane's special pastry. It's the only thing he can make.
Only thing he cooks.
Mhm.
Only thing he can cook.
Oh yes, exactly. Only thing he can cook. And she thinks it's absolutely delicious, and he's very flattered, and it just absolutely it makes her day. And she's like, "Oh, it tastes like something that my dad used to make." And so they have a little bonding moment. He says that he learned it from his mother, who has now passed. So then they bond over having deceased parents, as you do in a Hallmark movie and also in real life. We find out also that he had a wife, and his wife passed a few years ago. And at Christmas time, the daughter can get a little sad, which is why he started being more into Christmas and doing all these events at the inn for Christmas, because he wanted to cheer her up. And when she finds this out, she starts thinking differently about the daughter and actually doing these events and hanging out with her because she knows what it's like to lose a parent. And
Now
at one point,
let me stop you right there.
yes,
What's preventing this beginning of this movie? What's preventing the characters from actually what's their conflict? What's keeping them apart? And why does the daughter try to get them together? Is it
okay.
because
My thought, it's a very boring thought, is just that she cannot wait to leave this hometown. She's got to get back to Chicago. Do you have any
okay.
thoughts? And also, he doesn't want to move on from his dead wife yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, well, first of all, if he can't move on from his late wife, that's his resistance. He's just like a brick wall. He's aware of her, but not can't show any interest because he feels it's being disloyal to his late wife. And also he doesn't want in front of his young daughter, he doesn't want to make it seem like he's doing anything to besmirch the memory of her mother. Whereas the daughter is like, no, you got to move forward. The daughter's
Mhm.
the realistic one,
Yeah.
unless not they're too young, because then they get precocious. But if she's like 12 or something,
Hmm.
then she can have some sense and she can be the wise one, which I think is good. And I think our character just so the Katrina Law character just so doesn't want to be in this town, is just forced to be here. And also she's maybe they didn't have any rooms at the inn. All they had was like this one little the equivalent of a broom closet that they sometimes use with a pull-out bed. And it's like the only place because there's some kind of convention or there's some kind of big event happening in the town where every hotel room and B&B for miles and miles around is taken. So she's stuck. And her mother, and also there's probably some little spot in her mother's house that she could bunk in, but you gotta maybe the house sells, maybe
Mm.
the house sells as she comes into the town. And as she's going to see the house for the last time, the mother is handing the keys to the new owner. So she doesn't even get a chance to be in there. So it's like a double whammy. It's like, oh my God, I grew up in this house and it's not here. I can't even say goodbye to it. And her mother just has all of her stuff in boxes in the driveway. And she's got to go through them. And why did she leave the town? And maybe something bad happened in the town and she really needs to get away. And now that she's back, it's reminding her this stuff. So she doesn't want to be there really. And she meets Luke, and he's just too perfect. He's like this perfect guy, and everything he does seems right. He so like loves Christmas, and she hates Christmas right now. And but he's just not really being himself. And so that can actually be a way to kind of get them apart, and little by little, what brings them together. But the key is with all of these movies, what do they do together throughout
Mhm.
the bulk of the movie? What's the thing? They join up to to put on the charity event, the Christmas
Mhm.
charity event. They join up to become dance partners, whatever it is, something that they can do together. So maybe she ends up getting it. Maybe during right at Christmas, when it's packed at the inn, he loses his manager or
Mhm.
his right hand person, and she has to jump in
Yep.
um,
Last
to
minute
do
party
it.
planning.
Yeah, less. Or there's a party and he loses the party planner, and she has to jump in to be the last minute party planner, because that is kind of her secret love, party planning.
Hmm.
Um, we could do that. And of course it brings them together. And then of course, what splits them apart, you have to figure out what then splits them apart as, toward the end of the movie, and how they come back together. But I think you've got a good start here. You have to
Yeah,
find the title. I think we call it In and Out for Christmas or something. I don't
of
know. In
course.
and out or something. I don't know, but
Yeah. No,
I
yeah,
like that
that's,
element.
yeah, I think last minute party planning, maybe he doesn't have a lot of funding, so she convinces him to throw this party to save his inn, or he convinces her to help him. Um, and they have to bake his pastry together, but the power goes out right when they're about to kiss, but then she kisses him
Right,
anyway. Um,
right. They
and
both
then
end up
and
with a
then
little flower
exactly.
on their hands.
Of course. And then they're still not meeting their goal. And of course, he's a secret whittler and he has these beautiful
Right, I
nutcrackers
forgot
that
the
he
window.
whittles.
Yeah. I
And
forgot about
so he has to sell those. But on the night of the party,
that.
she gets a call saying that she has to go back to Chicago. She's finally landed the account of her dreams, the party of her dreams. So she goes to Chicago and she realizes that her heart's just not in it there and she has to come back.
Right,
Hmm.
right. And what she left the town for, she never really found in Chicago, and she needs to go back, and she
Yeah.
left it behind. I think that's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got two winning movies here. I think we just need Hallmark or somebody to say yes if we move forward for next year.
Exactly. Um, my last board game related question for you is as I, you know, change things around for a 2023 Hallmark, what would be your addition to this game?
Well, we could we could they could be a gay couple, they could be
Mhm.
two women, two men, one of them can have a brother that's LGBTQ, or a sister, something like that. We could always do that. Certainly, however diverse we can make the characters is always good. I
Mhm.
mean, we have a lot of white actors here, but I mean, we can definitely mix it up with other ones. Um, with to make it more diverse and more authentic. I think, and to go back to how can we tell the story a little bit differently, just in
Mhm.
terms of structure. Think about
Yep.
that. I think that's a good question. Who maybe we tell the whole movie from the point of view of the daughter.
Mhm. Mhm.
She does the voiceovers, and without making it too cutesy or something, but it's like she's the one who kind of brings them together, and she's the one who loves Christmas and makes the dad loosen up, and all of that. So maybe we could tell it from her point of view, and it's a little parent trappy, in a way. Maybe there's another kid involved too, or something like that. But yeah, I think it's just how do we tell the story differently and make it a little bit more eclectic, authentic, but yet a holiday story maybe we haven't quite seen.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for
yeah, you're
playing
fun.
this with me. One last question
Yes.
about Hallmark.
Yeah.
How would you describe Hallmark to people who just, they have one vision in their minds about what it is? How would you describe what it actually is,
You
or
mean
what it
like
is to
what
you?
what the Hallmark Channel is, just as a the Hallmark channels as a
Or the
entity.
movies, just in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
You know, I don't know how I would describe it, but I will say that I know that during the pandemic, the Hallmark movies did really, really well because people wanted they're home more and watching more, but people wanted the happy endings. And whenever I talk to people and I say, "Oh, I've written Hallmark movies for Hallmark," I love Hallmark. It's always a nice ending. It's always it makes me feel good. I don't have to. There's so much going on in the world. I don't have to worry about it during that short period of time. I'm watching the movie, and it's just a great escape. So I think maybe they're just escapes. All these Christmas movies, those Christmas movies, romantic comedies, any kind of entertainment that just sort of that's positive and it doesn't have a lot of tragedy in it or doesn't bring the world in so completely. I think people want to escape. That's why people like comedies. They just have always liked comedies. They want to escape and get out of their serious lives for a little while. So I think Hallmark's been really so valuable for that. And even when they do mysteries and stuff, they're just fun and it helps people escape. I mean, that's why did people like Murder She Wrote so much or any of those kinds of things? It was just another world. You're being immersed in somebody else's world that may be a world that you'd like to be in, but you never will be. But it's kind of a cool little vacation that you take.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for writing these movies with me and for joining
Oh,
me.
thank you.
Um,
So much fun.
this was great. I cannot wait to see Friends and Family Christmas, December
Yeah.
17th. And
Yeah.
also, I just yesterday found out that you were a novelist. So I am going
Yeah.
to go find those right now and read them
Please
because
do.
I'm very
I,
excited.
I will do a very shameless plug for my books.
Yes.
Available in bookstores and on Amazon and other places. The Last Birthday Party, a romantic comedy set in LA. It's a Hollywood set romantic comedy about second chances in life. And then my second book, The Mother I Never Had, which is a family drama about a mother and son, which also available in bookstores and online. If you get them, hope you enjoy them. Let me know what you think. Reach out. I'm available. I can be reached at on social media and all that, but I also have a website GaryGoldsteinLA.com. There's contact information and way more than you ever need to know about me is on that website. So check it out. And I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Good. Good. Well, everybody have a great Thanksgiving, a great holiday season, and watch those Hallmark movies.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone. This has been the Heart of
Bye.
Reviews.